Hello, 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 and welcome back, friends and families. Welcome to Read the Next Book, the picture book subscription box, especially for kids ages 4 to 8. My goal is to inspire you to follow your passions and to dream big. Hi, my name is Christie Wright, and that would be my dog, Harlan, barking in the background as my daughter is just getting home. But yeah, I'm founder of Read the Next Book, and today we're going to read Duke Ellington. So if you watched yesterday's video, I don't even remember which one it was. Yeah, the words, that book. If you watched that video about what are words really, I said at the very end that I was going to read this book today. I was going to read it this morning as a bonus, but as luck would have it, as we went to the college where she was going to do her voice auditions to go to the music section of the college, their Wi-Fi was terrible. It had a had some kind of code. I don't know. My phone wasn't working. It was hot. It was overheating. My laptop that I took with me, no, everything with video, any website, like it would just flash and go crazy. So I couldn't even use my laptop. Anyways, I'm here now today with you to read all about Duke Ellington. This book is amazing. Hello and goodbye. I'm on a live stream. This is written by Andrea Davis Pinkney and her husband, Brian Pinkney, illustrated it. So it won the Coretta Scott King Award as well as the is it a Caldecott Honor Book. It's published by Scholastic and it was 1998. So yes, it is old, especially considered old in the book world, but super awesome. And I'm going to read it to you because, music, and it's been a musical couple of weekends. So here we go. You ever hear of the jazz playing man, the man with the cats, who could swing with his band? He was born in 1899 in Washington, D.C., born Edward Kennedy Ellington. But wherever young Edward went, he said, "Hey, call me Duke." Duke's name fit him rightly. He was a smooth talking, slick stepping piano playing kid, but his piano playing wasn't always as breezy as his stride. When Duke's mother Daisy and his father J.E. enrolled him in piano lessons, Duke didn't want to go. Baseball was Duke's idea of fun. But his parents had other notions for their child. Duke had to start with the piano basics. His fingers playing the same tired tune, one and two and one and two. Daisy and J.E. made Duke practice day after day. So I'm wondering if they just knew that he had a little bit of musical talent in him. To Duke, one and two wasn't music. He called it an umpy dump sound that was headed nowhere worth following. He quit his lessons and kissed the piano a fast goodbye. Years later, on a steamy summer night, Duke heard that umpy dump played in a whole new way. Folks called it the music ragtime piano that turned umpy dump into a soul rousing romp. The ragtime music set Duke's fingers to wiggling. Soon he was back at the piano trying to plunk out his own ragtime rhythm. One and two and one and two. At first, this was the only crude tinkling Duke knew. Well, if you quit your lessons. But I see the music is swirling in his head. But with practice, all Duke's fingers rode the piano keys. I'm sure you guys can see here. Duke started to play his own made-up melodies, whole notes, chords, sharps, and flats, left-handed hops and right-handed slides. Believe it, man, Duke taught himself to press on the pearlies like nobody else could. His one and two umpy dump became a thing of the past. Now, playing the piano was Duke's all-time love, like way better than baseball. When Duke was 19, he was entertaining ladies and gents at parties, pool halls, country clubs, and cabarets. He had fine as pie good looks and flashy threads. He was a ladies' man with flair to spare, and whenever a pretty-skinned beauty leaned on Duke's piano, he played his best music, compositions smoother than a hairdo sleeked with pomade. It wasn't long before Duke formed his own small band, a group of musicians who played all over Washington, D.C., but soon they split the D.C. scene and made tracks for New York City, for Harlem, the place where jazz music ruled. They called themselves the Washingtonians and performed in all kinds of New York City honky tonks, Barron's Exclusive, Plantation, Ciro's, and the Kentucky Club. Folks got to know the band by name and came to hear them play. Sounds pretty cool. Then, on an autumn day in 1927, Lady Luck smiled pretty on the Washingtonians. They were asked to play at the Cotton Club, Harlem's swankiest hangout, a big time night spot. The Cotton Club became a regular gig for Duke and his band. They grew to 12 musicians and changed their name to Duke Ellington and his orchestra. Night after night, they played their music, which was broadcast live over the radio. I'm sure that didn't hurt either. For all those homebodies out in radio lovers land, folks who only dreamed of sitting pretty at the Cotton, the show helped them feel like they were out on the town. Duke's Creole love call was spicier than a pot of jambalaya. His mood indigo was a musical stream that swelled over airwaves. And now I've got to go look those songs up. I want to go hear them. Sometimes the orchestra performed their tunes straight up, but other nights, when the joint started to jump, the Duke told his band to play whatever came to mind, to improvise their solos, to make the music fly, and they did. Each instrument raised its own voice. One by one, each cat took the floor and wiped it clean with his own special way of playing. Sonny Greer pounded out the bang of jump rope feet on the street with his snare drum, a subway beat on his bass drum, a sassy ride on his cymbal. Sonny's percussion was smooth and steady. Sometimes only his drumsticks made the music, cracking out the rattly beat of wood slapping wood. Ooh. I can start to hear this music. Last week, when we were in the college, they did a little performance because it was like high schoolers coming to learn some band music. And the percussionists all got together and they did a couple of special numbers, and it was kind of like African drumming, and it was so cool. I loved that piece so much. Along with Sonny, Joe Tricky Sam Nanton went to work on his trombone, a sliding smooth melodic gold. He stretched the notes to their full tilt, pushing and pulling their tropical lilt. When Tricky Sam was through, he'd nod to Otto Toby Hardwick. "Your turn," he'd say. "Take the floor, Daddy-O." My son played the trombone. Toby let loose on his sleek brass sax, curling his notes like a kite tail in the wind, a musical loop-de-loop with a serious twist. Last came James Bubber Miley, a one-of-a-kind horn player. He could make his trumpet wail like a man whose blues were deeper than the deep blue sea. To stir up the sound of his low moan horn, Bubber turned out a growl from way down in his throat. His gut bucket tunes put a spell on the room. So when my daughter started band in 7th grade, 6th grade, she started with the trumpet. Yeah, those solos were kicking hot buttered bop with lots of sassy cool tones. When the band did their thing, the Cotton Club performers danced the Black Bottom, the Fishtail, and the Susie Q, and while they were cutting the rug, Duke slid his honey-colored fingertips across the ivory 88s. Can't you just hear it bebopping everywhere? The word on Duke and his band spread from New York to Macon to Kalamazoo and on the sunshiny Hollywood Hills. The whole country soon swung to Duke's beat. Once folks got a taste of Duke's soul-sweet music, they hurried to the record stores asking, "Yo, you got the Duke? Slide me some King of the Keys, please. Gonna play me that Piano Prince and his band." People bought Duke's records, thousands of them. In 1939, Duke hired Billy Strayhorn, a musician who wrote songs. Billy became Duke's ace, his main man. Duke and Billy worked as a team. Together, they composed unforgettable music. Billy's song, "Take the A Train," was one of the greatest hits of 1941. With the tunes that he and Billy wrote, Duke painted colors with his band's sound. He could swirl the butterscotch tones of Tricky Sam's horn with the silver notes of the alto saxophones, and ooh, those clarinets! Duke could blend their red hot blips with a purple dash of brass from the trumpet section. In time, folks said Duke Ellington's real instrument wasn't his piano at all, it was his orchestra. Most people called his music jazz, but Duke called it the music of my people. And to celebrate the history of African American people, Duke composed a special suite he called Black, Brown, and Beige, a suite that rocked the bosom and lifted the soul. Black, Brown, and Beige sang the glories of dark skin, the pride of African heritage, and the triumphs of black people from the days of slavery to years of civil rights struggle. Duke introduced Black, Brown, and Beige at New York's Carnegie Hall, a symphony hall so grand that even the seats wore velvet. Few African Americans had played at Carnegie Hall before. Duke and his orchestra performed on January 23rd, 1943. Outside, the winter wind was cold and slapping, but inside, Carnegie Hall was sizzling with applause. Duke had become a master maestro. Because of Duke's genius, his orchestra now had a musical mix like no other. Now you've heard of the jazz playing man, the man with the cats who could swing with his band, king of the keys, piano prince, Edward Kennedy Ellington, the Duke. Yep, so now you've heard of him. So if you don't know jazz, check this out and hunt down some of those songs on YouTube and listen to them. So give me a thumbs up. What is your favorite instrument? Is it the piano? Is it the trumpet? Is it any number of the other instruments we mentioned in here? Or is jazz your all-time favorite music? If that's the case, definitely put jazz all caps in the comments. Would love to see that. My daughter also plays in the jazz band, which is pretty cool because not all the students in the band play in the jazz, just a small number, and she loves it. So thank you for joining me with Duke Ellington and reminiscing on some jazz music. All right, have a wonderful evening, and we will